Hi, everyone. This is Jeff with Pie of Genius. And today, this episode is specifically targeted for those of you who are feeling overwhelmed. You're feeling overwhelmed. When you go into work, there's overwhelm. All through your day, there's some overwhelm. When you go home, there's overwhelm. And my goal at the end of this episode is that we'll have created a little bit of space where you can have some hope and some strategy and some questions you can ask yourself and your team to help you move away from that place of being in overwhelm and bring some more calm to how you're feeling. So if that will resonate with you, then stay with me. So first I want to say with overwhelm, I sympathize with you, right? There's so many people today dealing with overwhelm, especially around overwhelm where it's caused or its contributing factors are because of the complexity of what we're dealing with right now. So if this is you, we have so many things coming in at us and our team, and we often are going to feel overwhelmed with this complexity when we don't currently have or have accessed the skills to manage that complexity or the number of things coming at us, to do it in a way that we can do it well and still have margin. Because if you don't have margin, you can't do it well, you're going quite possibly to feel overwhelmed. And here's the deal, and you know this so well. When you're feeling overwhelmed, when you and your team are in a place of feeling overwhelmed, creativity gets shut down, innovation gets shut down, your ability to serve your customers, your clients goes down, productivity goes down, your team alignment is reduced, and definitely, most definitely, the energy level you have to really have drive and excitement to do your work also goes down. That feeling of overwhelm just sort of shuts everything down and makes everybody kind of small. So I hope to give you create a space today where you can kind of pause and take a break and be able to expand and release some of that overwhelm and to replace it with some calm, because you have a strategy and some questions you can ask your team that I'll talk about later to really help you move in the right direction, to move to a place where you can have more calm. So I put up here that there's really a spectrum between complexity and simplicity. And often the further you move towards simplicity, your amount of overwhelm can go down. The more you push toward complexity with really anything, the opportunity for overwhelm increases. It's just how things work, right? If you're juggling, I don't have a ball in front of me, but a pin, you're juggling with just one pin, you know what? There's not a whole lot of overwhelm with that. But if I was to try to juggle two pins, which I can't actually do, if it was 3 pins, 4 pins, 5, someone throws me a chainsaw, I'm trying to juggle that, overwhelm's going to happen. So, all right, with you and your team, you basically have 3 options on how to deal with the complexity and overwhelm. So number 1 is you and your team can increase your ability to manage the complexity, what you have going on, to the level at which you've increased your skills, whatever, your capacity, so you have margin and you don't have overwhelm, your calm comes down, right? Your other option is that you can reduce the complexity of what you're doing till it gets to the level where you and your team can currently manage it well. And manage it well is what's important here. Manage it well and still have margin. Okay. And there actually is a third option as well. And the third option is you just don't care. You just decide we're not going to care whether it's done well or not. And once you're in that place, the overwhelm pretty much goes away because you just don't care anymore. However, I'm assuming if I'm talking to you and you're still listening, that probably that option is off the table for you. So, so if your option is number one or number two, deciding which way you're going to go with that is important. Because the truth is, each one of these has pros and cons associated with it. Both will bring your overwhelm down, but there's going to be a trade-off no matter what you decide to do. So what I want to give you now and kind of leave you with this is a couple questions that you can talk about just with yourself or with your team to help you make the decision on which way you're going to go. So I'm going to put 3 circles up here. Okay, and this is about choosing what is best. Okay, what is best for the business or organization, if you have an organization. What is best for your customers, clients, just whoever the people are that you serve. What's best for them? And lastly, what is best for your staff, for your volunteers, your employees, the people that work for you in some capacity, right? So, and what's best for the business? Well, you can't see all this, can you? There we go. Best for customers and best for staff. Now, I'm sure there's some other circles, but we'll just simplify it and just have this be it. And so what you're shooting for is what is the best, where the overlap in those circles, best for the business, the customers, and the staff. Because it's going to affect all of them, right? Now, here's the question as what's best for those, and then around that, I have a couple of questions that you can discuss. Number one is when it comes to what you're, the complexity you're going to deal with, do you really have to do it? These things that you're doing, the things you're dealing with, do you really have to do it? And the second part of that question is, do you really have to do those things now? And this is really important. Do you really have to do it now? Because maybe there are some things, if you are feeling overwhelmed in your team because of complexity, there are some things that you can put on pause, or you can stop entirely. Kind of the pause one is the now, right? So if you don't do it right this second, maybe one of these things, you can just say, you know what, for right now, for what's best for all these circles is to just put this thing on pause. So what is best? Business, customers, staff. What do we actually have to do now? And again, you got to think of the, let's see if I have space to write this up here. You have the long game and the short game. And you have to understand both of those, right? If you're going to choose to level up, you can do that. But can your team actually do well with margin everything you're trying to do now? Or is what's best is to actually limit the complexity so that where the team you have now, you can actually do it well with margin. All right. Well, I hope that gives you something to think about. That might make for a great conversation with your team, and then just see which way you want to go with it. Okay, so This is Jeff with Pie of Genius. I'd appreciate it if you found this content valuable, if you could subscribe to the channel, like the video, turn on notifications, share it with somebody else who might find benefit in it. And until next time, have a great week. All right, guys, talk to you later.